Alright gang, who's a fan of the fruity floral style of fragrances? Now that we're getting closer to spring, I think this particular style is going to be perfect to wear this particular season. You know, we've got lots of flowers blooming everywhere. So this style is a combination of beautiful and fresh smelling flowers. Most of the time fresh. There are some more deeper, richer, warmer fragrances here, and then of course combined with fruits. So if you want to find out about fruity floral fragrances, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today I'm talking about fruity floral fragrances. I do want to say these might lean feminine, so if you're into the idea of flowers with fruits, then these are going to be perfect for you. Most of these are unisex targeted. There are some that are feminine targeted, but I have it all, you know, entered in the info box. You can find out which one is unisex, which one is feminine targeted, and all that good stuff. But you know, I do enjoy the combination of flowers and fruits. They tend to end up going fresh. A lot of these will have a very spring-like smell, which is perfect for me. And I'll let you know which one goes, you know, warmer, spicier, deeper and richer, rather than, you know, this fresh fruity floral kind of a mix of notes. Either way, I'll let you know what they are before I do. If this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So before we get started, please do let me know which is your favorite fruity floral fragrance, and of course if you do enjoy this particular style, and what is it about this particular style of fragrances that you like. So we're going to start off right off the bat with a Louis Vuitton fragrance that actually smells of spring fruity florals. To me, this is a wonderful, wonderful offering. It is feminine targeted, but I think a man can pull this one off. It's just a very fresh, crisp, fruity, floral, citrusy combination of notes. It's Le Jour de se lève. Actually, it's Le Jour se lève. It means the day begins. I think something like that. But it's so crisp. It's so fresh. It's very, very refreshing and also invigorating, and it features notes of lily of the valley with jasmine, sambac, grapefruit, orange, mandarin, blackcurrant, osmanthus, green notes, peony, rose, and magnolia. So good, so fresh, very refreshing, very invigorating. In fact, this particular one is so fresh and refreshing. I think it's perfect for summertime. And the notes together, just a wonderful combination. Definitely has a green vibe. The lily of the valley in here, along with the green notes, has this kind of a green touch. Definitely has the fruitiness, the osmanthus, along with the blackcurrant, and lots of citruses. Le Jour se lève is the first fragrance I'm talking about. This is not a ranked video. Next up, going to the House of Creed. It's AVENTUS for Her. It's a fragrance that, even though it's called AVENTUS for Her, I think can be pulled off by men. It's just a beautiful, fresh, refreshing kind of combination of musky notes with lots of fruits and flowers. So this is the feminine version of the original AVENTUS for men, but I think it can totally be pulled off by men as well. But it's called AVENTUS for Her. I think it's misnamed personally. I don't know why they called it AVENTUS for Her. They should have just called it something completely different. But beyond that, I think it's a great combination of notes with musk, blackcurrant, green apple, peach, rose, patchouli, bergamot, amber, sandalwood, lemons, and pink pepper. Very, very fresh, totally refreshing. Once again, perfect for summer, but totally you can pull this one off all year round, just like the last fragrance. So Creed's AVENTUS for Her, a wonderful offering. Next up, going to the House of JEROBOAM. This is a FLORO. I've been featuring FLORO here and there. I've just recently featured it in a video of my favorite fragrances as of late. It also was in the review and fragrances from the House of JEROBOAM video I did from a few weeks ago. So this fragrance, once again, is a very, very clean and fruity floral fragrance. The combination of floral notes with apples and pineapple makes for a wonderfully fresh, very, very invigorating, but very, very fruity and floral fragrance wearing experience. So there's notes of floral notes here: red and green apples, pineapple, white musk, jasmine, sandalwood, dry woods. The combination is great. It also has a very, very clean smell, and I think it's perfect to wear in the summertime when it's really, really warm outside. Or if you want something very, very uplifting and happy, you can totally, you know, use this, as a lot of these fragrances today are going to be very, very happy fragrances. I think the smell is just a very, very happy smell. So JEROBOAM FLORO is a great, great fragrance from the House of JEROBOAM. The next one is going to the House of XERJOFF. This is ACCENTO Overdose. This is a very fresh fragrance, but also very, very long lasting. everything. To me, the notes wears fresh. It might not come off fresh as in it feels deep and rich and woody and ambery, but that's mostly in the dry down. But for me, it's lots of fruits. There's green notes, there's aldehydes, there's jasmine, lily of the valley, rose, pine, and eucalyptus. So there's some green touches, there's some woody touches, light camphoric touches, but it's lots of fruits with the green notes, aldehydes, jasmine, lily of the valley together. The floral touches come off very green, but it smells great, lasts a long time. So if you want something intense, fruity floral for the summertime, definitely check out ACCENTO Overdose by the House of XERJOFF. I think you are going to love that fragrance if you like fruity floral fragrances. Next, going to the House of MAISON Margiela. It's Springtime in a Park. So this particular fragrance to me is fruity and floral at the same time, and it has a very green vibe to it as well. Whenever a fragrance has that green vibe, and then of course it's called spring, I associate it with spring because spring flowers tend to smell more green. You know, they're just blooming, they're fresh, and there's kind of like a leafy kind of stemmy kind of a smell to the flowers as they haven't completely developed. It's totally prominent here, and it's coming from the lily of the valley. Lily of the valley is just this most beautiful flower, has a very, very green smell to it. But this one has lots of lily of the valley, also with pears. So it's fruity floral, but the pears as a fruit are not the most distinct smelling fruits. There's definitely a smell there, but it's a little more of a calming smell rather than like this really intense kind of a fruitiness, if that makes sense. But along with musk, it's a great spring floral, fruity floral experience. I think they did a good job with this one. In fact, this is created by Jacques Cavalier, and he created Le Jour se lève as well. I don't know why I keep calling that Le Jour se lève, but he's done a good job. But although you can tell the quality of the notes in this one are a lot more higher than this one. At least to me, that's how they come off. The price of this one is much less than the other one, so you can kind of tell. But still, it's a great smelling fragrance, perfect fruity floral fragrance for spring. Springtime in a Park from the House of MAISON Margiela. Great, great fragrance. The next fragrance is a fragrance from the House of TIZIANA TERENZI. It's BOREA. Here we have a fruity floral fragrance, kind of goes into tropical, beachy, gourmand direction, if that makes sense. The TIZIANA TERENZI has a lot of fragrances in their catalog. In fact, they have a lot of fruity fragrances in their catalog, and I have a separate video dedicated to TIZIANA TERENZI's fruity fragrances. So if you are into the fruity fragrance idea, go catch those videos. But this one definitely is fruity, plus definitely floral as well. Has coconut, almonds, pear, plums, vanilla, musk, tuberose, freesia, jasmine, rose, and oak moss. The combination of notes is quite nice. I really do enjoy these notes together. This is definitely also a lot more intense. This one can be pulled off in the winter when it's cold outside, because there's definitely like the warm ambery notes in there as well. So in the end, you've got the fruity floral combination, but you also have these kind of warm ambery plus woody notes as well. So BOREA is from the House of TIZIANA TERENZI, a great fragrance. And I should say, I'll always say this, TIZIANA TERENZI fragrances do last a long time. The fragrances from this house are really intense. The concentration is extrait de parfum, higher concentration of perfume oils, plus they also are big fragrances. So if you like that idea, you should definitely check into this brand if you haven't yet. Next fragrance, going to the House of Costume National. This is Supergloss, this one right here. So this is a fragrance that came out I think a year and a half ago, or maybe a year ago, from the House of Costume National, created by Dominique Ropion. And it's a feminine targeted release. Obviously it makes sense, the color and everything, and also the kind of notes that are in here, but I think a man can totally pull this one off. Totally can. This is red fruits, rose, orange blossom, lily of the valley, benzoin, osmanthus, patchouli, vetiver, and cedar. So eventually this does get woody and ambery in the base, but it's all fruits and flowers up top. So also it's red fruit, so you do experience this kind of like combination of, you know, red berries, could be blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, maybe even plums and cherries as well. But it's a kind of non-distinct, but there's definitely this kind of berry-like quality, but there's also a little bit of like a berry candy-like quality in here as well. It's a great scent. It's fun. It's more playful, and from the color you can totally say or kind of get that it's going to be a playful fragrance. So this is Costume National Supergloss. Next up at number 9, again, this is not a ranked list. This is probably one of the most popular fruity floral fragrances for the ladies from the House of Parfums and Marly. This is DELINA. Are you a fan of DELINA? Let me know. This is a fruity floral fragrance because it has fruits and flowers, obviously. This one has Turkish rose, it has lychee fruit, rhubarb, vanilla, musk, cashmere wood, peony, and lily of the valley. There's green floral touches in here. The peony, the rose, and the lily of the valley together with that lychee fruit, and then the rhubarb. Rhubarb to me, even though it's vegetal, it's a vegetable, I think as a fragrance note it does come off fruity, more like a red berry kind of a thing. So this has the lychee fruit plus the rhubarb together to create this wonderfully fruity floral fragrance with some intensity. This is a very popular fragrance, I can tell. Probably my hunch is, my guess is, this is the most popular Parfums de Marly fragrance when it comes to the entire catalog, including the men's and the women's. What do you guys think? There's a huge following for this one, and I know a lot of ladies talk about this one, and I think it makes sense. It's a great smelling fragrance created by Quentin Biche. He did a great job for this one, and so I do highly recommend it as a great fruity floral fragrance. And once again, also it makes sense, it's very popular. They have 2 additional flankers for this fragrance, so obviously when a fragrance gets popular, brands do capitalize on the success of a fragrance. So Parfums de Marly, DELINA, it's a great fruity floral fragrance, definitely worth checking out. So the next fragrance I'm talking about is from the house of Jacques Fatt. This is Rosso Epicureo. But this one to me is a combination of tuberose. There's lots of tuberose in here, overdose of tuberose, and you can totally smell the tuberose smell in here. But there's definitely fruits in there as well, lots of plums. So it gives you kind of like a red, almost like a berry experience rather than, you know, the plum itself, but along with black currants here as well. So you've got this berry-like qualities, grape berry plums-like quality in addition to the tuberose. But in addition to those notes, you've got jasmine, you've got rose, ylang ylang, orange blossom, jasmine. There's some spice with Sichuan pepper and davana as well. I think the combination is great. If you like a tuberose forward fragrance, a tuberose prominent fragrance with all those additional notes to support this tuberose, to kind of like give it life, you know, so to take it into other directions rather than just smelling like tuberose, then definitely try this one. It's a great fragrance, and it definitely has a tuberose smell there, but also a red smell together, and the color of the juice obviously makes sense. So Rosso Epicureo from the house of Jacques Fatt is definitely a great fruity floral fragrance. Going to the house of Nila Vermeer Creations, it's Bombay Bling, probably one of the best fruity floral fragrances out there. Plus, it's tropical. It's totally got a tropical vibe. So if you like tropical fruity floral fragrances, you've got to try this one. It's mangoes, frangipani, lychee fruit, blackcurrant, tuberose, ylang ylang, jasmine, gardenia, rose, vanilla, and sandalwood. So eventually it does get warm and woody in the base notes, but it's lots of flowers, tropical flowers, and then also fruits together. It smells like you're in a, you know, a tropical island. You're sitting on the beach and sipping on this like very tropical cocktail. It's that delicious. So this is Nila Vermeer Creations Bombay Bling. If you don't know that one, do check it out. I highly recommend it. The next one I'm talking about is Forte Manley's Impressions of Giverny. This one right here. This one to me is once again a white floral balm with lots of fruits added to it. This one also has the crisp crunchiness of apples or red apples in it, along with mangoes. But you've got yuzu here, magnolia, neroli, ambergris, orange blossom. It's a great smelling fragrance. You know, I have to be honest, it does remind me a little bit of what Amarige by Givenchy smelled like back in the 90s when that fragrance first came out. Was it the 90s? Very early 90s. It could be the late 80s, but I discovered it and gave a bottle to my mom in the early 90s, and it smelled wonderful. It's a tuberose balm, and this kind of lightly hints at it, but kind of goes into like a fruitier direction. It's a really great fragrance. Forte Manley Impressions of Giverny, a great scent if you don't know it. This next one's from the house of Fenty. This is Fenty by Fenty. Do you guys know this one? I have a full review of this one on the channel. Go catch it. This one to me is a fruity floral in that it has blueberries as a note. So lots of blueberries as a note, along with lots of rose and magnolia. There's musk in here, tangerine, patchouli, geranium, and vanilla. The combination is really great. Once again, created by Jacques Cavalier. I've got 3 fruity floral fragrances in this list created by Jacques Cavalier, go figure. He's a great perfumer. I admire his creations. He does great work for Louis Vuitton, and obviously he did Fenty by Fenty, and that's also under LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet and Hennessy. But this brand is under L'Oreal. I'm not sure how he got out of his contract, but this is really great fragrance. It does a little bit smell like another Louis Vuitton fragrance called Apogee, but this is the fruitier version of it. And I should say that this kind of also has a little bit of the Apogee DNA in here as well, but this is a lot crunchier or crisper in comparison to Apogee. But Fenty by Fenty is great. If you don't know it, check it out. If you like fruity floral fragrances, definitely worth checking out. The next one is going back to the house of TIZIANA TERENZI. I've got 3 fragrances here. I've got 1 bonus as well from this house because, as I said, I have a whole video on fruity fragrances from TIZIANA TERENZI. This is Tabit. Do you know this one? This is so good, guys. Very peachy, fruity, and a woody base under there. Wonderfully yummy. This is musk, peach, cotton candy, floral notes, vanilla, woods, amber, green notes, orange, coconut, and bergamot. It is a really delicious fragrance, guys. If you like this whole combination of this peachy note, and generally I'm not a fan of peachy fragrances, this one does it for me. The other cool thing is, as I was saying earlier, TIZIANA TERENZI fragrances are intense. This one has this peachy, fruity freshness that kind of lets you get away with wearing plenty of sprays in the hot summer days as well. That's the kind of fragrance it is. It smells fantastic, and I really love that about this one. So Tabit by the house of TIZIANA TERENZI is a great fragrance if you don't know that one. The next fragrance going to the house of Bentley. This is Radiant Osmanthus. So this time we're focusing on the Osmanthus flower. Osmanthus flower is a flower that smells of peaches, apricots, nectarines, maybe a little bit plums thrown in. So there's definitely fruitiness there, but also light leatheriness as well. It's a flower. Osmanthus is a flower, and it has these kind of characteristics or notes to it. So it's Osmanthus, wild jasmine, lemons, peach, mandarin, neroli, cedar, amber, and sandalwood. A great combination of notes. It's very fresh, it's very fruity, there's a little bit of a leathery touch in there, and there's a little bit of a tea-like accord in there as well, all from this Osmanthus note, and it makes for a wonderful wearing experience. So Radiant Osmanthus from the house of Bentley is definitely a great fruity floral fragrance for you guys to check out. Next up, going to the house of Goldfield and Banks. This is Southern Bloom, this one right here. So this one, once again, is a fruity floral combination of notes. This is fruity in a sense that it has cassis note in it, and a cassis is this little berry-like note that there's a drink that's or a liqueur made with it in France, I believe. But this uses Beronia flower, very rare flower, not used frequently in fragrances. I don't see it come up too often, but it is here, along with iris, jasmine, coconut, the cassis note I was mentioning, sandalwood, amber, and ylang ylang. It's a great smelling fragrance. You definitely experience this kind of like cassis liqueur-like quality under there, along with the flowers. It's a gorgeous smell. Smells wonderful, and Southern Bloom is definitely one of the best fruity floral fragrances if you don't know it. Do you guys enjoy the fragrances from Goldfield and Banks? Let me know. And have you smelled Southern Bloom? I'd like to find out. So anyway, that is Southern Bloom from the house of Goldfield and Banks. And the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is probably the most intense. I shouldn't say that. The TIZIANA TERENZIs are definitely really intense. This one is also intense though. This one also goes into a tropical direction. This is Fragrance du Bois. It's Eau de Jaune Intense. This one has a beachy tropical vibe, very floral, but it has notes of tiare flower. It has fruits, ylang ylang, jasmine, pineapple, and wild flowers. There's definitely oud in here as well, but the oud takes a back seat. It's there to kind of like accentuate and kind of like add an accent to the notes, but for me this is mostly a very tropical, fruity, tropical floral combination of notes. It wears very tropical. It also wears beachy. A little suntan lotiony kind of thing comes up in there as well, but it's a gorgeous scent. So this is Fragrance du Bois Eau de Jaune Intense, and that's the #1 fragrance, but it's not ranked, guys, just so that you know. I'm not ranking this list, just a selection of fragrances for you guys to check out in regards to fruity floral fragrances. Let me know if you're a fan of fruity floral fragrances. Let me know if you're a fan of these particular fragrances, and what fragrances did I miss. Of course, I don't have every single fragrance in the world. Let me know if there is one that I should check out. I'm always looking forward to checking them out. I was going to feature Angel Nova by Mugler. I ended up not really featuring many or any designers. There's a couple here, but I decided to hold off on that one. It was not one of my favorite fragrances. Plus, it was created by the guy who made DELINA, Quinton Biche, along with a couple of other perfumers. But you know, I didn't really care for it that much. It was okay. It was pleasant, but there are a few others that I left off. But let me know what other fragrances I should check out in regards to fruity floral fragrances, and I'll definitely look into them. But let me know if you are a fan of this style, and if you are ready for spring, because it's around the corner. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. So I did have a couple of bonus fragrances I wanted you to see. The first one is from the house of Parfums de Marly. This is Cassili. I made this as a bonus fragrance because, you know, we already featured one fragrance from this house, although I did feature two from TIZIANA TERENZI. But TIZIANA TERENZI definitely has a lot more fruity fragrances, as I was saying earlier, and there's a whole video on TIZIANA TERENZI's fruity fragrances on the channel. Go catch that. This particular fragrance is a different kind of a DELINA-like fragrance. You know, I think it's in the shadows of DELINA. It was never as popular, but I think it's pretty solid. It features notes of plums, frangipani, red currants, tonka beans, vanilla, floral notes, petalia, mimosa, rose, and sandalwood. This goes into lightly tropical direction, but it doesn't really fully go there. It's also got warmth in there, a little more warmer, a little more amberier, I think, in comparison to something like DELINA. But I do prefer DELINA a little more, but this is definitely a great option as well as far as fruity floral fragrances go. So this is Cassili from the house of Parfums de Marly, definitely worth checking out. And then finally, the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is Draco, this one right here from the house of TIZIANA TERENZI. Once again, this one, I guess it kind of has a similar base as Tabit does, but what's going on top is a lot different. This one has musk, peach, magnolia, pear, vanilla, tonka beans, jasmine, heliotrope, bergamot, lemons, and orange. So there's citrusy touches, there's definitely lots of fruity touches, and then of course floral touches as well. But this one also gets very, very musky, and I like that about it. It's a clean musk, and then it has that kind of like woody base that Tabit has as well. But it's a great scent, just a great not an alternative, but a great bonus option for you guys to try from the house of TIZIANA TERENZI. So that is Draco. That's the last fragrance I'm talking about. And as I said it already a couple times, go catch that video on TIZIANA TERENZI's fruity fragrances, where you'll see a lot of fruity floral fragrance options, not just fruity options. Anyway guys, thanks so much for tuning in today. Have a good one. Goodbye.